What's up guys, Hagster TCG, the channel that brings you guys competitive Pokemon content. Here today on the drop of Chilling Reign, we've got a whole bunch of decks to showcase for you guys throughout the week. We're going to start with what we think are the most powerful decks, move through to some other super cool contenders coming out of this new set. But before we start this deck profile and gameplay off, we actually have two decks we're going to be showing off in this first one, both featuring the new and very powerful Calyrex VMAX Shadow Rider. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, turn those notifications on, like the video, and comment down below what decks you want to specifically see. I'll try to get to as many of them as I can, because I'm honestly super excited to showcase off some of the new decks from the set. And yeah, with that in mind, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. The first thing to cover here for both of these decks, we're going to be going over the Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX, two deck archetypes that I think are going to be super popular coming into this new format. Obviously revolving around this Calyrex VMAX 320 HP Psychic type. Underworld Door, the main ability here, allows you to not only attach Psychic Energy from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon, but you also get to draw 2 additional cards as well, sort of reminiscent to Zoroark GX's ability, except now with a positive effect on actually allowing you to energy accelerate energy on your board onto your bench Pokemon. Max Geist pairing very well with this late in the game. Can hit for a lot of damage, 10 plus 30 more for every Psychic Energy on your board, which is super powerful. And obviously you want to power this with some nice Psychic attackers, and the main one in this version of the deck playing Path to the Peak is going to be that Trevenant Dusknoir. Night Watch can get powered up even in one turn if you have 2 Calyrex VMAX in play. 150, and you know the deal. Shuffles 2 random cards from your opponent. Pairs very nicely with Marnie, but the new Stadium card coming out that makes this deck so powerful is that Path to the Peak. It's like a power plant on steroids. It shuts off any rule box Pokemon, which is going to be very, very solid, shutting off cards like Zacian V, Crobat Dedenne. You even can shut off your own Calyrex V, but the reason we play this card is because it, in combination with Marnie, allowing your opponent to get 4 cards with Night Watch and Path to the Peak, can just win you games by your opponent having no outs to play the game. And then from there, you build your board up. You can even go ahead and sweep late in the game with Max Geist. It is a very powerful strategy indeed. We'll get into some other components of the deck list. We are actually playing 2 copies of the new Galarian Zapdos. Fighting Instinct allows you to attack for 1 colorless less for each of your opponent's Pokemon V in play. So this is in here specifically for that Eternatus deck. It is a great counter, allowing you to attack for a lot colorless less. You can attack for free in most cases, except for 1 energy, Fighting Energy, which we are playing Aurora and Fighting Energy in our deck, and 170 knocks out an Eternatus VMAX in 1 hit due to that fighting weakness. And you also can discard a special energy for your opponent's active Pokemon, so very solid attack. And we're playing 2 of these so we can just try to string them as fast as possible against the Eternatus. And it's also just a solid attacker in other matchups. 170 for 1 is very, very good, especially on a 2-prize Pokemon in this format. Besides that, 1 Dedenne, we want to have some consistency. Bench space is really tight in both these lists, so 1 is fine. Gengar Mimikyu, solid Horror House, very good in combination with Poltergeist. It's a great way to get easy knockouts and a very good GX attack to use while we still have them. 2 Marshadow with Resetting Hole. So the whole point of this card is that you can not only get rid of Chaotic Swell so that your Path to the Peak can stick, but additionally, you also can get rid of your own Path to the Peak when you place it down, so that you can even go Resetting Hole, utilize those ability Underworld Door on the Calyrex VMAX. I'm still getting used to these new ability names. And then from there, just replay down Path to the Peak after your turn so you can utilize your abilities and then your opponent doesn't. It's sort of similar to Garbodor back in the day. You would Field Blower your own Floatstone, utilize Trade on Zoroark, and then put it back on. So it's sort of like that. And to the other components of the deck, we'll go ahead and go over the supporters. For Marnie, obviously, our main Disruption and Draw supporter. 3 Research is just a staple. We're playing 1 Clara, which is a new card from the Chilling Reign set. It's like an Ordinary Rod on steroids, essentially. You can put 2 Pokemon for your discard pile into your hand, and 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand, vice versa, up to, you know, the whole deal with Ordinary Rod. We don't need to play Draw supporters every turn because this deck has a solid draw engine in Underworld Door. So we're utilizing Clara to easily get back cards like Galarian Zapdos and our Fighting Energy. Aurora Energy, obviously a great card to provide onto any of our Pokemon, which is why we're favored over to 2 Fighting. They don't really provide anything else in the other matchups, so that's why we're utilizing it here. 3 Boss, pretty standard stuff. We want to be able to Gust, and the new item cards as we get into this, Fog Crystal is like Netball back from, I believe, Lost Thunder. It allows you to search your deck for a Psychic Energy card or a basic Psychic Pokemon, which is great in this deck. We want to set up and find those energies to accelerate with Underworld Door. 4 Quick Ball, pretty standard stuff. 3 Evolutionary Incense. We have 8 ways to search out basics, so we're fine just committing the slot strictly to Evolution Incense to find our Calyrex VMAX, because, yeah, we have plenty of ways to find other things there. 1 copy of Reset Stamp. It is an insanely good card. Stamped to 2, Night Watch. Now your opponent's playing off their top deck. Very good stuff. 2 switch, obviously a great pivot option. We want to get some things out of the active to also utilize Underworld Door onto our bench Pokemon. 3 Path to the Peak, as we explained, great card disruption-wise. And then 2 Air Balloon to wrap out our trainer cards. Then we're playing 1 Aurora Energy, 1 Fighting Energy. Just take a moment to admire the new awesome secret artwork on these energy cards. Super cool indeed. And then 12 Psychic Energy. We obviously want to accelerate those. So this is the Path to the Peak version. And there's also another version that utilizes Mewtwo Mew and plays some disruption, right? You still have access to Night Watch, but now you're playing sort of a more aggro build. You're utilizing cards like Viridian Forest in your deck. Most of the cards are the same, obviously Mewtwo Mew Perfection, so we're playing, instead of 2 Trevenant Dusknoir, we're playing 1 Mewtwo Mew, so we can utilize stuff like Poltergeist as well. It just gives us a little bit more versatility in the deck. I have seen some decks run the Garchomp and Giratina in this too. I honestly think that could be a really cool inclusion, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and try that out right now. Let's go ahead and play the Garchomp and Giratina, because I think that card could actually come in and be super cool in this deck. Obviously, you are playing Aurora and Fighting Energy, so it works out well. We'll go through the different inclusions in this deck. We are still playing 1 Path to the Peak, because I think late game Path is still very solid. 2 Viridian Forest, so we have even more access to just trying to streamline as many energies into play with Underworld Door as possible. 3 Boss, 4 Money, 3 Resources, same thing. We are still playing that Clara, and then we are playing 2 Air Balloon and the same counts of energy, because I feel the energy counts are still good. You just want to have more access to it, and then also playing Energy Retrieval. I've seen this in some of the Japanese lists that have been doing well. You just get energy back, which not only allows you to accelerate Underworld Door, but it keeps those energies in play late game for something like Max Geist to deal a whole bunch of damage. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and get our first, let me make sure we go ahead and save this up here. Let's go ahead and get into our first matches on the new ladder with Calyrex VMAX. I think what we're going to go ahead and do once these rewards and stuff load up is we're going to start out with that Path to the Peak version. So keep in mind, again, these lists are in progress, right? They are a work in progress when it comes to how everything is being built up and how it's working. But we're going to go ahead, and I've been testing with these IRL a little bit, and they've been performing pretty solidly. So hopefully we are able to get in some cool action with these decks, as we are actually going to be starting things off. Pretty solid hand, actually, to go ahead and get things going. We do have Trevenant Dusknoir in the active, not our best starter. We don't have really too many ways to pivot out, but it looks like we are playing up against some sort of lightning deck, so it's a little bit of a relief that we're not playing up against something, I guess, a little bit weirder. This could very well be the new Zeraora deck coming out, which I think I'm completely fine with in this matchup specifically, but let's hopefully get a good card here, and that's actually really solid. So I think what we're actually going to do in this case, we are up against Victini, which is... I would say okay. I definitely am not upset about this. Let's go ahead and see what's prized. We got, looks like 1v max at the Calyrex line prized. Besides that, nothing too crazy. It looks like one of our Marnier in the prizes, but we do have our switching out, so that is going to be a big piece here to note. Let's also go ahead and... Some of these cards are really hard to want to discard, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the reset stamp instead. Let's go ahead and find Caliv. And yeah, I think we're good to just go ahead and... I'm just going to leave myself open to some options to get the turn going next turn. So yeah, I think I'm good with that. And we'll see what my opponent's got going. Looks like Victini, VMAX. Trevenant Dusknoir obviously is going to be really solid against this deck. Looks like also playing Lightning Energy, but a little bit of an unfortunate game there. We just got a scoop. We really want to get some action for you guys, but it happens on ladders sometimes, so we'll go ahead and get into the next match. Hopefully we can get a little bit of a better game for you all, as we are up against an opposing Psychic deck, but that's no problem for this deck, as we are not weak to actually any Psychic-type Pokemon with the new Sword and Shield rule changes, essentially. Not rule changes, just how they've changed the weakness up essentially throughout the game. It's been all right. It's actually been a lot easier to determine what works for each. And wow, this is actually this could work out. I think starting, we may need to hopefully top deck into something. I think if we could top deck into some sort of a draw support Pokemon to get things going, that could be cool. Looks like Esper is the starter, so we could have some new quirky deck here. As Chaotic Swell, definitely not the most fun card to deal with, but we do at least have the ability to go in with something at this point, so I think what we're just going to do is play this pretty passively for the start of this turn. We're just going to save the Fog Crystal for upcoming turns, essentially. As we'll go ahead and play Path and pass the turn over. Looks like it is some sort of a Catterday deck, but Marnie here is okay. Wanted to just play a little bit safer, and we still are in a pretty decent spot. We can threaten something like the Horror House next turn. We've got Psychic Energy. We've got other things. Dragapult too. So, I mean, I'm okay with this. So, let's see what we can go ahead and put together. There's a switch. Could put together some other combination of cards. Psychic Energy could be good. So, got a few options to work with. Let's go ahead and attach here and play Marnie down. Hopefully, we can find it like VMAX switch something else at this point, but we unfortunately are not going to have too much luck. With this hand we've got, we can go ahead and play that Fog Crystal, however, and get down another Calyrex V. We also have Path to the Peak that we can play down, but I think we just want to hold our hand for now, I think is fine. So let's just go ahead and hold it, see what we get, and work with it. But Crushing Hammers, a whole lot of other cards. VMAX, opponent is popping off here with cards, and there is also the Fione. So Whirlpool Suction will... I think we're just going to bring that Calyrex VMAX up. We can Shadow Mist to maybe slow our opponent down a little bit, as they do have the switch. And just a Shred. So we are still in this, only dealing 60 damage to us. And there we go. Evolutionary Incense is going to be a great card here. It's going to allow us to evolve this Benchmon. We can start accelerating some energies with Underworld Door. It's going to allow us to get some energies into play, draw some cards, and look at that. Solid stuff. There is that. We also have Path. I think we're going to go ahead and play the Path to the Peak down and then play that Research. Hopefully we can go ahead and draw into some of our switching outs. Not quite. We do have some more cards to work with at this point, so I think what we're going to go ahead and do is just Quick Ball away this Psychic Energy. We have plenty of Psychic Energy left. We also have Clara, so I think we're going to go ahead and do this. Go ahead and go Resetting Hole the Path. Play down another Marshadow, and then we're going to go ahead and Dedenne. We're really looking for one of those switching cards. And there we go. We found the switch. We also can now start applying pressure with Night Watch. We're now in a very solid position. We could also go ahead and Pale Moon, but I think... I think we're actually going to go ahead and Pale Moon. We know they don't have anything in hand necessarily, so we're going to take the gamble here. Pale Moon that energy off. It seems like the correct play, but opponent obviously is going to go ahead and top deck Research because why wouldn't they? And that's going to be pretty bad news for us. We do get the energy off of the active, so now this forces them to go ahead and switch, which is not horrible, right? So we can start applying pressure next turn with Night Watch. Claire is going to allow us to get some energy cards back, so this is actually a pretty solid spot to be in. But yeah, they did find a switch. That is unfortunate on our end, but we can start maybe accelerating some energies into play. They're, for some reason, thinning the hand out, which is pretty interesting, so I guess could maybe find the something. I'm not sure, but they are going to go ahead and actually find that Persian, which will allow that, what is that again? Oh, yeah, the Esper on the bench can go ahead and apply some pressure, but yeah, digging through their deck, gonna utilize some of those draw support Pokemon. I'm not sure if I quite agree with that, but regardless, they're gonna go ahead and draw up to 6. They got a fresh new hand, so we'll see exactly what happens, but I do feel that after that solid start, we were able to see a lot of cards. So this deck is definitely seeming to be very strong. We'll probably play, one more game with this deck, and then we'll go ahead and try the other variant out, I think, as they're going to go ahead and grab another Dragapult. But again, I'm fine with them going down to 4 or so cards in hand. They're also not going to be able to take the knockout with Esper, so we're obviously not going to evolve this one. Seems like the correct play. And Claire is actually really solid because we can actually put Marshadow back into our hand, and we'll also be able to utilize some other abilities. So let's actually go ahead and start out. We're going to go ahead and discard that Galarian Zapdos. It's not going to be very powerful in this matchup. We only have 1 VMAX left in deck, so it looks like we prized 2 of ours this game. But Nevertheless, we can go ahead and start utilizing Underworld Door to put some energies onto our Pokemon. There is Reset Stamp, so I think we're going to go ahead and utilize that Clara. We might as well just get some Pokemon back. They can just be utilized here, but the main thing is we want to get those Psychic energies back into our hands. Go ahead and attach here, and then Night Watch will be able to go ahead and take 2 cards out of our opponent's hand, and that looks like a good 2. Got Research out of the hand. Very solid stuff, and we'll also be able to take some prize cards. Research is not bad. We may want to maybe hold on to this hand. We could see what Underworld Door provides us for the following turn. Interestingly enough, not going to promote their free retreater, but I mean, if it works for them, it works for them. But we will be able to at least Night Watch this hand if they don't do anything else. From there, we can take some aggression, put some aggression on. 40, 70, 100, 130, 160. We're hitting for 190 damage right now. So relative to this, we are still in an alright position. We should still have at least like 4 more Psychic Energy, 3 more Psychic Energy in play. So we can set up the Calyrex to do some damage. They are going to be 3-shotting it, so they are actually going to go after the Calyrex instead. So interesting position, I guess, to go after this with Max Phantom. They will be able to take a knockout onto our Calyrex. That's alright, though. We can go ahead and make some other plays relative to what they decide to do at this point. So it looks like they are going to take the knockout onto the Calyrex V. And now this puts us in an interesting position. We have lots of cards to work with in our deck. We have, I think, 3 more pivoting options. And that is nice to start things off as well. I think what we're going to do is power up another Calyrex VMAX at this point. Let's go ahead and Underworld Door onto this. Get that powered up. Draw 2 cards. And yeah, I mean, there's not really much else we have to do in this position. I think I'm fine to just go ahead and attach that Aurora energy to the active and swing. So let's go ahead and do that. And yeah, Max Geist can deal a whole chunk of damage. 220 to that Dragapult. We are going to get pinged at this point. But I think that's okay, to be honest. We can go ahead and Night Watch the following turn. Crushing Hammer is annoying, but even if this hits, we are still in, I'd say, a decent spot. It will go ahead and get rid of the Psychic on the active. But oh no, this could actually be a problem if they hit another heads. Ooh, energy off the active. It's definitely not fun. Not a big fan of that. But if they just take the if they just swing into this, that's actually okay, because then we can go Night Watch their only card in hand, and then yeah, put ourselves in a decent spot. So yeah, there we go. Night Watch will go ahead and 130 there. I'm sure we'll see the damage counters go on to the Dene. And from there, we should be in an okay spot. We can take the knockout there, and then Crobat is looking extra tasty onto the bench. We are down, how many boss? Oh, no boss. Wow, actually really solid stuff. So I think we're just going to go ahead and start out with Underworld Door. We do find a switch, so that's really solid. We can go ahead and go into our Trevenant and Dusknoir. We can Path as well. We do have Double Shadow here, so I think that's what we're actually going to go ahead and do. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and Shadow, and we'll go ahead and see what else is in the deck off this quick ball. There is nothing, but look at this. A very solid set of cards left in the deck. Research, go ahead and draw 7 fresh new cards. Fog Crystal, Evolutionary Incense. Let's go ahead and just play this for now. We don't need to accelerate any more this turn. But yeah, this is going to be good. And yeah, here we go. Night Watch, knockout. Get that only card out of their hand. Take 3 prizes, and I think we just need to find one of our 2 Air Balloon that are just chilling in our deck right now. And there's Psychic Energy as well, so... and yeah, there we go, Air Balloon as well. I think one of them was prized, so... We are in a position now to close this game out. They get 1 card off the top of the deck. They've drawn really well out of Night Watch, but no, it's just going to be that Dragapult, so... We'll load our deck, or our bench up of energies. Ear Kinesis is going to actually take the knockout onto our Calyrex on the bench. It does have a lot of damage on it, so. However, we do still have, I believe, the amount of energies left to take this knockout. 40, 70, 100, 130, 160, 190, 220, minus 1 is 190, so we will be able to do that. So let's go ahead and attach here. Resetting Hole, the path to the peak. And then we can go ahead and Underworld Door onto ourselves. And there we go. Air Balloon here. We can go ahead and retreat for 1. Into that. Boss's Orders up with the Crobat. And yeah, there we go. Max Geist taking a knockout onto the Crobat V. We'll go ahead and take this first game, essentially, with this deck. So We'll go ahead and play with this other variant here, try this one out too, but I think it's really cool that there's multiple ways to play this deck. I think as we dive a little bit more into the meta, so to say, that we'll be able to get a better understanding necessarily of what works, what doesn't work, and what decks are doing better, essentially, in a sense. So we are going to get into the second game. We are now playing with the straight version, so it does not play any path to the peak. I think it plays one path to peak, but we're still playing with the standard version of this deck. I think we're going to go ahead and go first. We want to get those VMAXs into play ASAP. However, not the best hand to start with. We do have the ability to utilize maybe the Gengar and Mimikyu. Yeah, I mean, we are going to get some mulligans at least. We'll see what we're up against. It looks like we are up against some sort of fighting variant, so this is definitely solid. Definitely what you want to see. This will bail us out, though, so very nice. We do also have Clara, so I think what we're going to go ahead and do for now is just use this to grab ourselves a Calyrex V. Go ahead and bench it, and unfortunately, no one wants to play against this today, so people are scooping left and right. However, we will still be able to get some games in, so thanks for sticking in with us today, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more, and we should be back streaming in a few days. Decided to take the day off and record some videos, because a lot of the other content creators are making some awesome work live on Twitch, so go ahead and give them some love, and we're going to focus a little bit more on the YouTube content. We're really close to 1,000 subs, and that would be an awesome milestone to hit on YouTube, so we'll go ahead and win the coin flip again. I think we'll go ahead and try going second this time. I think we're having a little bit of luck going first, finding what we're looking for, and yeah, this deck is just not being nice to us today on PTCGO. It's being pretty clunky, not drawing very well, so I'm hoping we can at least get some good games in at some point, but when this deck does draw and set up, it sets up very, very, very nicely, so we'll see, but it is still a good spot to be in. Alright, opponent is taking a while to get set up. It's not fun, but we'll see what is up. Just a draw pass. It looks like we're draw passing now. None of us seem to have anything, so maybe our opponent will have a Marnie of some sorts to bail us out, but looks like only Crushing Hammer and heads flip. Oh no. And yeah, they do have research, so looks like some sort of ADP version of the deck. And yeah, there it is. ADP, the Zacian, Energy Spinner, everything, so yeah, not the best draws so far, but we'll see if we can draw out of it this turn. Otherwise, we'll just scoop and try to set up for the next game. There's research, so I think we're just going to go ahead and dump this hand. This definitely feels really, really tough, though, to have to get rid of all of these pieces. Fog Crystal, get down another V. We can go ahead and Fog Crystal again, I think is fine. Go ahead and get down a Calyrex once more. Let's go ahead and do this. We can go ahead and get rid of Zapdos. Find ourselves a Psychic Energy. We are down a lot here, though, and I think we're just going to go ahead and pass the turn. We do have the Mewtwo and Mew in the active, so what we could end up doing is we could get Gengar and Mimikyu up. I didn't attach the energy because I'm very afraid that my opponent will play something like Chaotic Swell down this turn, which definitely will hurt this deck a lot because we don't have any Marshadow down yet, so. However, Metal Saucer, they're going to have the attachment for turn due to Viridian Force, but yeah, they did have that Chaotic Swell. Interesting choice for them to not utilize that before doing this, but yeah, there's the switch, there's the ADP, and now we're looking at a position where we could still find a way to pull this around, especially with that nice Marnie top deck. So I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to go and bench this. We're going to go ahead and evolve, and now we're going to go ahead and Underworld Door. We're looking for a lot this turn. We do find ourselves a Crystal Ball, Fog Crystal, same thing. We only have one more VMAX left, so we are going to need to hit a lot of things off of this Marnie. We do have the option to use something like the Dene. There's the switch. Yeah, but nothing else at this point, so yeah, I think we have to just pass the turn here with this in the active, and then Next turn, try to go for some sort of shenanigans with the Trevenant and Dusknoir, so. But again, this deck is just somewhat failing to draw to the extent that I had hoped it would. Crushing Hammers and ADP as well. Definitely an interesting inclusion. So, there's nothing that can really boss take a knockout on, but we could make some sort of a play where if they do just swing into this, well, they looks like they are going to draw some more cards here off of something like the Dene, maybe trying to like bring this up, but instead, it's just going to be the Zacian V, so. Well, they have the research, so looks like they always have it, unfortunately, but could still be a solid spot. There is yet another Crushing Hammer again. This is definitely a very interesting build of this deck. Metal Saucer, Air Balloon, they've got all of the cards necessary to put stuff together, excuse me. However, we could actually get ourselves in a spot where we accelerate enough energy just to, like, I don't know, just take this knockout with Calyrex V, and then we could put ourselves in a, I would say an alright spot, but they are going to be able to power up full Zacian, so this is definitely going to be a quite a scary position to be in, so I think this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Marnie. We have the switch, and then we'll go ahead and start powering up our own Calyrex VMAX with Underworld Door. Unfortunately, drawn to yet another Psychic Energy. We really need these Psychic Energies to get powered up. However, we do have yet another VMAX in play. How many Psychic Energies do we have left? One with Clara. Oh, I don't know if that's going to cut it here. But we'll go ahead and try it out, see what happens. So there's the Underworld Door. That's going to be able to find another energy. Air Balloon. We can go ahead and throw that onto this. And then hopefully Pale Moon could somewhat stick here. It's going to be able to take all the energy off that ADP. However, if my opponent has some sort of a switching card with a Rusted Sword, then I think that may just be GG's. But there's the Bird Keeper. This is such a weird list, man. Energy on the active, but we could actually find a way 40, 70, 100, 130, 160, 190, 220. So I actually think if we can find our last switch in the deck, we can put this together and take a knockout with our Calyrex V, and we should from there be in an alright spot. So let's go ahead and discard this. Our last switch is in there, so we are going to be living on a prayer at this point. I think we're just going to go ahead and find ourselves the Marshadow. That can go ahead and discard the Stadium. Let's go ahead and Resetting Hole. Go ahead and Fog Crystal as well. That can grab ourselves the Shadow Rider Calyrex out of the deck. We're going to go ahead and Underworld Door onto ourselves. And here we go. Do we find ourselves the switch? Not quite. We do still have one more Underworld Door, I believe, in here left. No, we just have Clara. So 40, 70, 100, 130, 160, 190. So we need to find Clara and our switch. So I think what we're going to do is just discard that Fighting Energy. We can actually utilize it to pay Retreat, I think. So we're going to do that. We're going to attach here. We're going to play that down. And here we go. Dene, can we find the Clara? It's like our last card in the deck. No, it was our last card. Oh no. 40, 70, 100, 130, 160, 190. We're just short. We can, however, play something like the Boss's Orders onto Crobats and take the knockout. That could be okay. So let's do that. Let's utilize that. So let's go Boss's Orders here. Let's go ahead and pay the Retreat into our Calyrex to discard the Fighting Energy. And then we'll go ahead and take the knockout with Max Geist. So now we're kind of just praying that our opponent doesn't have the ability to knock this out. But a very nice prize draw. We do find ourselves a Psychic Energy, so we will have the guaranteed knockout next turn onto one of these Zacians. So, hey man, this could work out. This could we could be able to put something together at this point. It is going to be very scary though, especially if our opponent has Boss's Orders this turn. And there is the Tool Scrapper as well. We're going to be able to get rid of both Air Balloon. This is just such a weird list that we're playing up against. But hey man, if it works for this player. But we're going to see what they have. It is definitely an interesting position to be in. There's the Quick Ball. We will be able to reset stamp them down to 2 and take a knockout, and then from there we can Night Watch. So it's not necessarily a horrible position, but definitely not one I would say I feel very comfortable being in. So Anything is possible, though. Anything is definitely possible. However, Clara is sitting in the bottom 3 cards of our deck. Research, though, means they're not going to be taking a knockout onto this Calyrex, so this could be our time to shine for sure. Crushing Hammer, though. Oh, another heads. Oh, you hate to see it. They're just getting rid of so many of our energy. We really don't have the ability to keep up here. 47, 100, 130, 160. I don't think we can afford to Underworld Door now because of that Hammerheads. Oh man, this is just not good. Man, if Clara wasn't our top deck, we would be in such a solid position at this point. But I think because of this, we don't really have any ability to take a knockout. And that's the problem with this deck. We can actually Underworld Door and find it. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to Underworld Door onto, I think we'll do it onto this Calyrex here is fine. We need to find Clara. We did find Clara, but we also have no way to put any energy back into our, we have no way to put Pokemon back into our deck. So we can go ahead and get rid of these VMAX, but unfortunately, it's not going to be anything we can do, but we will be able to at least close the game out with a pretty powerful Underworld Door, or Max Geist rather. So unfortunately, though, we did not find any way to get our things in play fast enough, and that's going to cost us against ADP. And unfortunate, but still pretty solid stuff overall. No way to win this game, and yeah, we'll just go ahead and close it out. And yeah, that's been both of these deck lists, so I appreciate you guys checking out the channel, watching this video all the way through. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, check out all the other content. We'll go ahead and show these lists off for you guys at the end here really quickly here. So here is the Shadow Rider list with just the regular stuff, just playing straight through consistency. And then here is the Path to the Peak version. I'm liking this version a little bit better. Just playing straight stuff. Clara, other cards. I think Ordinary Rod could also be good in this deck as well, but that's going to be it. Thanks guys for checking it out. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll have more Chilling Reign content coming up. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.